Thank you everyone for joining our webinar, Streamline Operations with Equipment Integration. My name is Sarah and I'll be your host for today. Our speaker, Dee Hayes, is a founding member of PharmaPhixx and a licensed professional engineer across 39 states. With a remarkable 37-year career, Dee is a serial entrepreneur who has founded and led 3 successful engineering firms. These firms, which specialize in optimizing facility operations through automation and technological advancements, have not only been acquired by larger companies, but continue to operate successfully today. Dee's dedication to STEM and empowering women entrepreneurs has been a driving force throughout her career, inspiring many to nurture and develop their own ideas. So, without further ado, I will now hand over the webinar to Dee.
Good morning. It's great to be here. Thank you, Sarah. Thank you, PharmaPhixx. This is exciting. It's our first webinar, and I'm super excited to be here. So starting off, I'd like to point out a few of our takeaways from today's meeting. Integration is a big deal. Automation is a big deal. AI is a big deal. The digital world is a big deal, especially for pharma. In today's meeting, we're going to talk a little bit about integrating your facility and what that looks like and what that brings to your manufacturing, how we will centralize that in a central control room, and how we will use the data that we collect to better your operations for process monitoring, data analytics, how to automate, and how to use for preventative maintenance. And of course, lastly, we will talk about our concerns and protection. So starting out, we're going to talk about why equipment integration is important, the benefits of an integrated facility, and how to integrate that equipment into the facility's automation. We'll talk about the centralized and reporting data into a centralized control room, a CCR, predictive monitoring and maintenance and how that benefits your operations, creating automated workflows and how it enhances your business, your automation, and your operations. And lastly, protecting for the future, how cyber plays into your operations. So first, we're going to start with why equipment integration is important. First, let's talk about real-time process and control. When we bring in our equipment into automation, we get rid of all the silos that happen in operations. As you can see from our slide, when these things do not communicate with each other, the process is broken, which allows for errors. It creates silos and prevents from predictive maintenance. One thing about bringing your equipment into your automation system is it allows you to adjust your processes dynamically based on your sensor data, reducing batch failures and waste. Things that we would bring into the automation system are anything that provides dynamic data, such as temperature, pressure, flow, humidity, anything to help enhance consistent product quality. Another important thing that happens when you bring in your equipment is your regulatory compliance and data integrity goes up immediately. This ensures compliance with FDA 21 CFR Part 11, which as a pharma manufacturer, we all know is important to create electronic records and audit trails. Good QA, QC is dependent upon consistent and accurate data. Automation prevents distractions. It prevents varying actual batching times, inaccurate ingredient amounts, overages and underages, which also creates an economic barrier in your processing. And also, automation allows for varying batch processing as needed on an on-demand time. Increased in efficiencies and reduced downtime through manufacturing execution systems and ERP integration is a big part of streamlined workflows and reducing delays in production. Human factors are a huge part of inconsistency in our plants. Automation reduces the interface with humans. Not that humans haven't done a good job over the years, but with the digital world here today, it's a part that we can alleviate and increase our operations, our consistency, and our accuracy. Quality control and traceability is another big factor of reducing human interaction. Next point is cyber. The world we live in is digital. Cybersecurity is a big concern in the world we live in today in the manufacturing world. And PharmaPhixx is taking that head on with OT and IT crossing and how we can have a better defense before we have issues in our businesses. If you live on the East Coast, one of the biggest stories that happened a few years ago was about Colonial Pipeline and shutting down their ability to provide fuels to the East Coast. And this all happened because somebody took control of their control room and their ability to move their product and to log it safely. And it literally put the East Coast at a standstill for a long time while their system was held for ransom. A lot of these cyber teams, that's what they do. They hack, they request a ransom, and even though they say you may get everything back, you also may not. And a lot of these companies require a lot of money to get your system back. I think it's actually a requirement now for most all businesses to carry cyber insurance. But just because you have it and just because they pay it doesn't mean you're going to get it back. We have a lot of foreign countries these days who are hacking American companies, American manufacturing, and American operations. So I encourage everybody to take this very, very seriously, get a plan, get in some preventive maintenance, get in a preventive plan and a strategy to grow in this area. Another thing that I want to add about being hacked is it's not something that people do necessarily. There are bots out there that are set up to hack. Personally, one of my businesses was hacked at 12:01 on January 1st one year, and my team was able to shut it down within about a 4-second period. And luckily, we had good backups, we had a good cyber plan, we had a good cyber team. We were not held for ransom and we lost no data. So again, having a good plan, having a good team, having a good strategy is key to having cyber protection. So why do we have a centralized control room? Well, as we know, data and information is king. And so having data logged and having it where we can go back and see why things happened, when they started, we can not only fine tune our operations and drug recipes, we can also track when an event happens. We can do preventative maintenance from the data that we've recorded and monitored and analyzed. Predictive processing and adjustments is key to having accurate product and logging regulatory compliance and data integrity. Center point for all operations, a second layer, a net defense. And when I say a net defense, I think of casting a huge net over your entire manufacturing organization. That includes your administration, the interface between administration and manufacturing, and then manufacturing and the network that your manufacturing lies and runs on. Safety is number one. With more data, we also prevent any incidents of it happening. We also know that we have, again, drug compliance, safety compliance, and data integrity and regulatory compliance. Why a central control room is better? Enhanced productivity is the number one reason that we collect data. Optimal quantitative real-time decision-making is possible, something that humans can't do, that we all know that AI, robotics, automation can do quickly and reliably, reducing downtime by reacting to problems immediately. We eliminate the inconsistency and move our operations and our manufacturing forward. Next is we reduce the waste, right? By monitoring processes, it's easier to optimize the use of materials, energy, and manpower. These are all things that cost businesses money, and we're all looking at that bottom line. The centralized control room also allows for predictive maintenance, allowing us to schedule those downtimes and fix those things before they interrupt our operations. Next is we ensure consistency, the ability to automate repetitive tasks that used to be manual, again, reducing human interface. Continuous monitoring. These systems never take a lunch break and never go on vacation. So continuous monitoring allows for finite tuning and corrections, ensuring all products meet specifications and optimal quality standards. This is key. Also, secure data access. We all have phones, and we know data breaches and cyber protection, again, is key. So the data we collect, it's important that we protect it. And a centralized control room allows us to secure that data in an easy location, and it allows for compliance and audits to become more straightforward. Next on our list, I'd like to talk about the benefits of an integrated facility. Again, OT and IT have crossed in the world we live in today. Operations and administration have crossed. Our accounting, our materials is integrated with our operations. Having an integrated facility not only ensures safety of the operators that work in the facility, it enhances our QA/QC from a ability to report and produce the data that we've collected over the years. It also gives us an easy understanding of how the process operates and how things happen during the process. Data utilization is huge, less downtime, predictive maintenance, as I've mentioned before, reduction of waste in utilities and manpower. Again, it hits all of our bottom line. How do we integrate this equipment? Well, we start by understanding what you have in your plant. People like PharmaPhixx come into your facility. They try to understand your processes and understand what you have operating between the equipment and the instrumentation in your facilities. What kind of data those instruments produce and how they interface with your equipment is key. We look for things like P&IDs, which are drawings that show the equipment, the outlay of the facility, the manufacturing, and how those pieces of equipment interact with each other. Also key is your network. What kind of network do you have? How it works? What is its backbone? What kind of media does it have? And how does it communicate? And of course, we want to understand what kind of protection it has and how is it vulnerable to the outside world, to failures, to lack of maintenance, and being upgraded on a regular basis so that it is staying consistently on the forefront of protection. We also, analyzing data is huge. You collect a lot of data, you have to know how to analyze it. From that data, we prepare predictive maintenance and adjust our operations accordingly. We always want to get ahead of maintenance and QA/QC and make sure that we are meeting all the requirements of the regulatory enforcement agencies. Next, let's talk about centralized reporting and reporting the data. Data is a vast ocean, as we all know, and it does take up a lot of space. Think about your car. If you have a new car, your dashboard has everything, not only on your dashboard, but maybe even on your windshield. Everything is at your fingertips. You want your plant to be the same way. You want to know everything about it, every temperature, every pressure with a click of a button. You also want to be able to export that to administration if needed so that they can predict material usage, workflows, anything they may need as well. So a little bit more about the centralized data, the data that you have that you can analyze. We can use it not only predictive maintenance, but predictive monitoring of the process, which allows us to do real-time process adjustments and optimize our production in our batches. Endless logging data is huge, not only for regulatory reasons. It allows for adjustments for real-time data tracking, electronic batch records. It also allows us to see how our sensors are performing, our equipment that we put in our plants, and how, as time goes on and technology gets better, do we have to improve on those types of equipment that we have. Regulatory compliance and data integrity. Again, data is a huge, vast ocean of everything from how the batch was operated to the equipment performing. So endless log data for reference for future. We can use all that data and analyze it to make seamless quality and traceability for our operation. Management loves this kind of thing because they can get automated reporting. Everything from process progress, cost, preventative maintenance, resource usage, batch times, and process specifics related to the operations. One good thing about having data is in a digital format is it can always be graphed and plotted, which allows us to see an abundance of data all at one time on a screen. This allows our scientists and our chemists and our engineers to understand everything from how the equipment is operating to how the batch is being manufactured. And it allows management to see the future of what needs to be changed to improve operations. Repetitive tasks, these allow our operators to focus on the things that they do need to be involved in. In other words, if a tank is getting low or something, that they can add more product if needed, if it's not something that has been in an automated process. It also alerts the manufacturing team to things that are happening and maybe need to be stopped, preventing something. Again, safety concerns. So the type of reporting you can have, production graphs are huge for your operators in your production. It helps see everything from your volumes, your cycle times. Again, temperatures are huge when you have operations, especially with chemicals, because you can monitor the temperatures, the pressures, and time all at one time. Quality, we can't say enough about quality in the pharma world. We can track any defect rates and inconsistencies we may have. And again, going back to those graphs, it gives us somewhere this happened, where this started, why it happened, what was happening at the time, maybe the defect started, and prevent this for future batches. Predictive maintenance, as an engineer, I can't say enough about predictive maintenance. As an administrator, we can't say enough about predictive maintenance. Nobody likes to have a maintenance issue happen in the middle of a batch, which scrubs the whole batch and costs everybody money. So having predictive maintenance where we can have those on the schedule, we can schedule batches and operations accordingly, we can schedule labor forces is key. Obviously, with ERP systems today and interfacing with those, we can schedule our material usage and our supply chain logistics as well. Cost is huge for everything these days. So energy consumption, workforce, sustainability, manufacturing, everything is important. The digital world brings all that together for our administrators. Lastly, all of this data gives us a good growth strategy of where we're going in the future with our cost, our sales, and our ability to manufacture. So what are the steps that we take to centralize our data? First is as built in your existing equipment, what you have in your plant. A team will come in, they will document everything from your equipment to your instrumentation and how all of that is piped and interacts with each other. Understanding what data is going to be a requirement and what is optional will be key to how we automate and tie everything into a centralized control room and a centralized data point. Obviously, understanding threats, cyber threats, data threats, not only to your storage area for your data, but to your plant and to your administrative team. Again, the IT and OT networks have to be protected, and then what those things collect also have to be protected. Understanding goals is key. We want to make sure any engineering team want to understand what the goals are. What are we trying to do when we're automating, when we're collecting data, and where it's going? Those are design considerations we have to create an optimal operations. Securing data rooms. I worry about it with my car these days because now everything can be hacked. If you think about it with your car and somebody hacking your car and being stuck sitting at a light because you can't move your car, imagine what happens in a manufacturing floor when everything stops, gets hacked. Not only what happens to your business, but what happens chemically, what happens to the safety you have no control over. So securing data rooms, securing your operations is key. If you want to have the best quality, the highest output, and the greatest cost efficiency, this has to be at the forefront of your concern. Secure your data. Cybersecurity is a real thing, and it will change everything else you do if you get hacked. Creating automated workflows. One of the best things about having your data at your fingertips and understanding your processes is creating automated workflows and removing human interaction. When you have human interaction, you're going to have issues. Again, humans are imperfect. It's just what we do. It's how we are all built. It's how we all operate. Once your data is centralized, we can create code that allows things to work automatically. It reduces the downtime, it reduces human interaction, and it reduces defects. What happens when things are automated? Automatically, your processes happen. So your pump settings become automatic. People don't have to go and close a valve or type in a number on a small touch screen. Production times are adjusted accordingly, preventing bottlenecks. And again, your material usage is automated. This will alert the staff before your materials get low, and it'll constantly check on the quality and reach out for actions that are required by the staff. What do we do to automate your processes? One is understanding the requirements of your process. A team will sit down with you and your operators and your scientists. We want to understand what's required and where are the fallacies? What are we trying to prevent in your processes? Understanding the equipment you have, understanding how we can tie those into the network and how we can control those. We want to understand what are the specification and standards for your facility. Lastly, designing a centralized control room. How is the data going to be brought in? What kind of network? Is it going to be fiber? Is it going to be wireless? How are we going to protect those things with cyber coming in? How is everything going to interact, not only on a digital basis, but on an operations basis? So a little bit about PharmaPhixx. We are 100% woman-owned business. We are proud to be all engineers, chemists, business people that have had a lot of experience in the world, and we have a passion for pharma. We're super excited about cyber and what we're going to bring to pharma. We're super excited about automation and controls and how to optimize your processes, your manufacturing, your team, bring maintenance and equipment optimization to the forefront of your manufacturing. If you want to update your production lines to centralized production, provide real-time monitoring and reporting, your cyber protection, you want to add automation, you want to understand what you have in your manufacturing facility and what your team does, call PharmaPhixx. They can help you understand how to make your manufacturing better.